Hello, everybody. Let's get ourselves rocking and rolling here. Let's make sure we have the Facebook. You know, the Facebook never likes to, how do we say, work. It just doesn't. I don't know why. It just never wants to work when we want it to, right? That's just how it is. Things just never want to seem to. It's always weird because when you go to when I do these different streams, you always go and I use something called OBS, and so what we're looking for is a way to essentially put both of the streams together. And when you put both of the streams together, so you could stream to different how do you say, different, like YouTube. You go to not only to Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. We stream a little bit of everywhere. One of the things that you find out is that they want to keep you on their platform. That's just they don't want you going and using other things. They want you to use the native platform that they have. And if you go against the grain, it's like you're pulling teeth almost. It really is. And so you never know, is it going to actually work? Yesterday we did or was it yesterday? Yeah, Sunday. We did our live stream and we couldn't even go live because of it. Oh, are we actually both? Holy shit, it actually might work. See what happens when you start yelling and you start bitching? Sometimes when you yell and you bitch, things actually get done. All right, so let's just get people going, because what are we doing here today, people? Oh, there goes my phone. Okay, hello. I thought I had it all set up, but then it all falls down. It all falls down. So hello, everybody. Poor connection, of course. So let me take you guys off of Wi-Fi. Let me take you off the Wi-Fi. You pay. Let me know about you guys. We spend way too much money on our damn Wi-Fi, on our internet, on our bills, and then it doesn't even work whenever we go to use them, right? It's like, what the hell are we spending this money for? They charge you $300 and you go to you use your internet, it doesn't even work. You're like, what am I doing here? Oh, we're live? Okay, so you guys always get me in the middle of this tangent, right? Whenever I'm talking to myself and it's like in this middle ground. So apologize if you heard me just kind of yelling at the damn. Okay, but that's what brings us here today, right? So welcome, whether you're tuning in, whether you are coming in. We have a couple things to do. We're going to be talking about the 5 things that you could do to change your health, your body, your mindset. But we're also going to be giving away some giveaways to the people who who took place in yesterday's yoga class giveaway. So I will be listing those names off here in a bit. So how's everybody doing today on this wonderful Monday afternoon? Over here, it's starting to get, the sun's a little melting, it's shining, it's bright. It's always like when the sun's shining, you always think it's like, oh, I can go out there and get a walk in. And then you realize it's fucking 15 degrees and you're like, oh my God, no, this is not it. So it's like, what the hell? So let's get into it. So one of the things that if you're new here, or maybe this is one of the times, maybe you always show up here, is that every Monday, every Wednesday, every Friday, we go live, right? And Sundays. But we always have different themes. So on Mondays, we talk more about mindset. And I figured since it's the end of the month, this is going to be the last Monday mindset of the month, if you can believe that, because next month in February, we transition into heart health, right? I talk all about heart health because, well, we'll talk about that in another stream, I think Wednesday. But today I wanted to talk more about what can we do to change our health, our body, and our mindset. Now, this conversation came from one of my clients where she was like, Nick, I'm really struggling to get myself going in January. Yes, I'm doing the workouts. Yes, but I just don't feel like it's my best. Like, I just don't feel like it's my best. And let me know in the chat if this is you. Like, maybe this January is just a little bit different, right? Maybe because it started in the middle of the week, but we'll get into that. But she was like, Nick, I just don't know what it is. So then I went to my other client and I asked her, I said, how's your January going? Like, what's going on? And she's like, you know what? My motivation just kind of seems like I don't know. I just feel like it's off. And I'm like, interesting. And so then I asked one of my guys, because I work with males and females. So I asked one of my guys, and he was like, no, Nick, I'm ready to kick some ass. He's like, but my kids have been sick, and I really haven't been doing much. But one of the things I started noticing was it was almost like the same rhetoric. And so that's why I wanted to come in here and talk about this on our Monday mindset, is like, what are 5 things and 5 ways that we can start to just change the way that our health, our body, our mindset, just the way that we think about different things before we get into a lot, the rest of our year, right? Because how we start is usually how we finish, right? And so if you were part of these last, I guess it's weird to say last year, but it was a month ago, is that we said we wanted to start strong, right? And we wanted to start strong for this reason, right? I feel like I have a very good grip on, I'm a health and fitness coach, right? So of course I should have a good grip on myself, but I feel like I, more than any, have a lot of good motivation going in. A lot of my clients, I just got off a phone call with one of my ladies. She said, Nick, this is an online client. She said, Nick, I don't know what's going on, but this is the best I've ever felt. And I'm like, I'm getting it from all different areas. I'm hearing people saying that they're kind of struggling. I'm getting people saying that they're doing well. And I'm like, what's going on? Well, I can tell you what's going on is that we have a systematic approach, right? Even for people who aren't necessarily, maybe aren't doing their best, we're still staying on structure, right? Some of the people who are kicking ass is because they have structure. So that's the very first thing that I want to talk about here, is one of the very first ways for us to transform our health, our body, our mindset, is to start taking control and starting to have some structure. So where can we begin right there? Well, if you're somebody who's sick and tired of maybe starting over every January, starting over in the summer, if you're getting yourself going in the middle of the, and we're always doing this stop and start, a lot of times this stems from not having structure, right? Because a lot of times we just don't know what the hell we want. Maybe we feel good. We want to work on our abs, but then we don't. We want to work on our arms, but then summer comes and we already got it, right? But we want to make 2025 the year where it's not about jumping and going to this thing and trying what's new and trying this and then stopping and starting. I want you to find some damn structure, and we're going to figure this out today, right? So now if you're anyone who's over 30, maybe you're in your 40s, maybe you're in your 50s, chances are, and this is usually the audience, so I'm not talking to anybody who's probably under 30s, is chances are we tried a fitness program before. Queen, happy to be here. Love it. Welcome. We're in this Monday mindset where you get me I get going on a rant. But if we're over 30, most of us are in this audience, is that we end up getting into a place where maybe we've tried a fitness program, maybe we've tried Atkins, maybe we've tried doing stuff on our own, maybe we've tried low carb, high carb, whatever. But one of the things that we've always noticed is that we did good for a little bit and then we fell off once we started seeing some results, and then it was always harder to get back into it. So it's like, I want you to think about what is, and just, you don't have to think about, actually I want you to think about it now, is what was the one thing that like derailed you, right? Was it a life event? Was it maybe you got sick, maybe you got injured, maybe you just didn't know essentially what you were doing, you just followed with somebody else, right? I want you to think about what stopped you previously, and I want you to think, have you ever felt maybe overwhelmed? And maybe that was a little bit of why maybe it wasn't as well. Maybe you didn't know exactly why you were doing these things. You go to Weight Watchers, they're like, you need to do points. You're like, what the hell's a point? Why am I a point? 3 points for a salad? I don't know what the hell's going on. And it's, forgive me. But maybe you're feeling lost because it's just like, this is very confusing. Or a lot of times they just there's so much stuff. It's like, all right, you sign up. Cool. We're going to LA Fitness. You were going to run on the treadmill. We're going to do box jumps. We're going to do this. And you're like, I haven't even got off the couch in forever. Oh, repetition. I like that. Repetition. A lot of repetition but a lot of times is we get stuck in our ways, right? Is that we just get stuck in our repetition, or we get stuck in maybe not even getting started, right? Because a lot of times when we do this, we go after short-term fixes. We go after short-term results, short-term goals. Because a lot of times when you really, and I know a lot of people in here are smart, I know a lot of people have accomplished a lot, right? Is that when you set yourself a goal, when you accomplish it, maybe you accomplish it before you thought you were, and now you're like, I don't know what to do anymore, right? And then we just kind of go back to our old me, essentially, right? It's because a lot of times we don't set goals high enough, right? If you were part of the vision board or you were one of my clients, right, we set some some crazy visions, right? For me, I want to be a best-selling author. I don't know when, but it's on my vision board. I'm going to make it happen. The podcast, we are making it happen. But the thing is like we have to realize instead of focusing on one area, maybe it was multiple areas. Maybe it wasn't just one area. It wasn't the nutrition you needed to work on. It wasn't the exercises that you needed to work on. You know you got to get steps. We know we got to eat better. But what if it was the lifestyle in whole, right? It was you just needed an overall lifestyle. Maybe the people that you were hanging out with weren't necessarily aligned to where you want to be. Maybe they were negativity. Oh, Jenny, what? The old me would have had one bad day, missed one workout, and throw everything out the window, right? And I think a lot of us do that, right? I mean, a lot of us do that. It's like, oh my gosh, I fell off track. Why do I even get started? I could just sit here. I don't even need to do this, right? And then we just negative self-talk. But what is that, right? That's the mindset portion of exercise and fitness. And this is one of the main reasons why, like if you ever looked at my, my offering, right? My services is the core 5, right? And there's a reason why it's 5 ways to consider about changing your health, because we're going to talk about the 5 ways that I use for my clients. And if you've been around, you've done them too, right? Is yoga, Pilates, flexible nutrition, mindset work, and actual being able to do exercises that are targeted to you and what you are, where you're at, right? And those are big things, and because a lot of times anybody could go to ChatGPT. Hello, Star Wars Rolls. I love that name. Anybody could go to ChatGPT, type in, I am 40 pounds overweight and I need a workout program, please. And it's going to give you everything. It's gonna be blah, 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 blah. You're going to be like, yay, I'm going to get ripped. But now you actually have to do it, right? And that's the hard part, right? Because people don't actually like to do it. Now you can go to ChatGPT and say, we'll break this down into a blah, 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 or however you want to do it. Give me a meal plan. Give me this. Give me that. But the problem is now you still have to take action, right? And this is the biggest part where a lot of us go wrong, because mentally we're not ready and prepared for that step. So that's why we break it into something called the first 5. Now, any of my clients who have worked with me, maybe I should have got them on here. If you are one of my clients, holler at me and we'll get you on here if you want to. Is that we break stuff down into a systematic approach that is called the first 5. And so everything that I like to teach people is not overwhelm, right? And this is something that I want to talk about here, is that not overwhelming yourself is what's going to lead you to see success, because you look forward to that next hurdle, right? I think a lot of us, and let me know in the chat, is when we start something, an exercise program, I know for me, I got ADD. As soon as I start something new that's exciting, I like to immerse myself into it, right? I like to just go 110% into it. Like you start a fitness program, you're trying to get your steps in, you're watching your water, you're going out buying supplements, you're taking all these different things, and you're like, yes, I'm this new person. Your piss looks like 15 different colors, right? Because you're peeing out all this stuff, right? Let's be real. Right? We've all done that. And we're like, this is great. But then that one barrier, like we talked about, ends up hitting us, and we're just like, we're exhausted, right? Because we were actually waiting for that to happen because we're overwhelmed. And so this is why it's important to break it down into a week by week approach. And this is what we teach in the Core 5 Blueprint, is that we break stuff down based on you, right? It's one thing for me to say, hey, Jackie, you need to drink your water, or, valet service. You need to make sure that you don't mess with, people's cars, or I don't know. But, Kay, like you got to make sure that you're getting your protein goal. Like this is going to be important. Well, you might be like, well, I eat protein all the time. That's not my problem, right? So it's like, you have to realize that it's about you, right? And about you having to look forward to something. So when we get into like, okay, I need to change my life, I need to change my health, I need to change my exercise, what does that really mean, right? Because those are like broad aspects. When we break it down into 5 key things, that's where you're able to focus on, right? So number 1, functional fitness. Why do we focus on functional fitness? Well, the reason we focus on functional fitness is because a lot of my audience and a lot of my clients are people who are just starting their fitness journey again, maybe after being out for couple years, maybe an injury hit them and they're afraid to get back into the gym. And they're just like, Nick, how do I even start? I don't even know what to do. I've done it before and end up hurting myself. I've worked out like I'm 16. You're 40 now. It doesn't work that way. So what we end up doing is we make sure, and it's something called anatomical adaptation. Now, this is something you can research, you can Google, you can look at, and this is something in science is basically saying you can't build a house on a shaky foundation, right? So an anatomical adaptation, I wouldn't expect one of my clients, or this is how I wouldn't have you do, is I wouldn't have you go ahead and do lunges or squats or heavy, just anything, if I know your quads, your glutes, and your hip flexors and your hamstrings aren't actually firing, right? Because what ends up happening is you end up getting into a squat and then you're doing this and you actually don't have a hip hinge. Well, if we actually turned on the glutes and we turned on the hips, and whenever you sink down, now we're squeezing the butts. Now everything's involved. Everything's working. Now you're going to reduce your risk of injury, right? If we go ahead and I tell you, I want you to do a front squat with the weight right here in your front. If you don't have any core, what's going to happen, right? You're going to do this, and then it's just going to blow out your back. Well, if we work and teach you how to turn on your rectus abdominis, your six-pack muscles, a lot of these times you end up saving yourself from injury. I just got off the phone with one of my clients. He just finished his first 5, and he said, Nick, I wish I would have recorded it. He was like, Nick, this is the best I've ever felt, and it's because it's not restrictive. I'm not going after looking, oh my God, I can't eat that, I can't eat this. I'm just being aware of what's going on in my life. And that's the thing, right? If you work with any trainer or any nutritionist or anybody that tells you that you need to eat X, Y, and Z, they're full of shit. What you need to do is fix what you are already consuming. That's all you need to do is fix what you are already eating. If you could start there, you don't need to go off on any crazy diet, because let's be real, we've all been there. If you sit there and tell yourself, I'm not going to eat any carbs, right? What's the first thing you smell when you go into Costco? That damn pizza place. Those hot dogs. When you go into Target or you go into, remember back in the day, Kmart and Ames, right? You used to go in there, you used to have that smell of like popcorn and just grease. You knew what you were getting into when you got in there, right? Because that's the first thing you smelled, and that's the first thing you crave. And when you avoid or you reduce or you cut out one of these food groups, that's what ends up happening. That's the first thing you go to crave. And then what happens? You cave in, you go and you binge eat that pizza or that hot dog or whatever it is. You feel like shit and you start the cycle all over again. And this, my friends, is the binge, eat, restrict, shame cycle of eating that we're trying to break out of, right? And so that's why it all starts with flexible nutrition. Let's work with what you are already dealing with, right? It doesn't need to be crazy. I had a client when I first started teaching as an in-person coach. I had a client that we ended up losing. She lost 18 pounds by doing just one thing. That was reducing coffee creamer in her coffee. Why? Because she wasn't drinking coffee. She was drinking milkshakes. She was like, I don't know why I'm holding on to this band. She was like, all right, Nick, I never really thought about it, but and then stir it up, throw some ice in there, and then off she would go to work and just sip on this thing, right? But we didn't realize, once we did the math, it was like 800 calories that she was drinking on her way to work. And she just thought that was just her normal coffee, right? It never occurred to her that, wait, coffee creamer, right? And some of this could be people for you. 18 pounds from just reducing coffee creamer. And then we were like, well, shit, what's next, right? She was like, I don't know. This is kind of cool. But it's like sometimes it's just working with what you're at. Now, if I would have told her, I would have said, hey, Sam, what you need to do is you need to start eating yogurt. You need to start switching into berries. I need soluble, insoluble fiber. I need you to do this. I need you to not do that. She would have been like, fuck you, right? Because we don't want to do that. We don't want to sit there and just pow all this stuff on you, right? If you're working with a good coach, or you're working with me, right? That we layer this stuff on, because as the months go on, we go back and be like, remember whenever I was like, I couldn't even hit 50 ounces of water. Wow, that was crazy. Now that's like what you do normally, right? And this is the teaching that we do inside the program with a lot of the ladies. And this is why in February, when I'm doing something a little different, because I want to bring in a group of people that come in together, right? That start the first 5 in February together so that you guys can see, rather than have somebody join me in April or somebody join me in the beginning of December, the second week of January, the third week of January, and everybody's kind of like all over the place. I want to bring people in that are in it together. So I'm looking for 5 people who want to go in and do this together, go through the first 5, go through their program, and so that they can see like, wow, she's working on protein too. I'm working on protein. How are you doing this? Oh, Tara, well, you know what? And I realized that I wasn't and this is the difference that I want to make with my program. And this is what we do with a lot of my ladies. So if you're interested, that's what we're going to be doing coming into February. I'm looking for 5 ladies, but that's only the functional fit. That's only the functional nutritional part, right? And like we go deep in this. We meet up every Saturday and we talk. And so what we end up doing for the second pillar is functional fitness, right? Functional fitness is all about what you're doing, right? If you're somebody who you're like, well, Nick, I sit all day, but then I go to spin class. Why? Right? Because what you're doing is you're just kind of stuck in this position, right? You're always in this position. Now, if you find that you are somebody who sits all day, we want to do stuff for extension. We want to do stuff for core, stuff that's going to fix your hips. I got guys and women who are Google programmers, right? And you can imagine Google programmers, what do? They sit all day typing, all day, boom, 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 making apps, doing all this stuff. So they're sitting a long times. Nick, my hips hurt, my this, my that. Well, what we started doing, it would be one thing for me to say, okay, well, let's just sit in a chair and just do exercises all day. That ain't going to work. We have to stand up. We have to do stuff where we are doing like a step back and a balance, right? So we're doing extension. We're turning the glutes on. We're driving the knees. Functional fitness, right? This is the difference between a lot of my style and other coaches that I see, especially because, my mentor he mentors all the fitness, which is kind of crazy. I didn't even realize this. My mentor who I spent way too much money on him, mentors basically every fitness creator that I've watched and was like, oh, this guy's full of shit, or I hate this guy's video. I hate his style. I never hate anybody. But I'm like, I don't like this guy's style. Well, my mentor has them all as clients. And I just realized that the other day. And I was like, I saw your video and I disagreed with you. And they're like, I saw your video and I liked it. And I was like, shit, okay. But one of the things is that's what's good about the industry is that everybody has different styles, right? Yes, my style was a yoga teacher, Pilates teacher, functional fitness, all this stuff is going to be completely different than the guy who's trying to get absolutely shredded, right? Like I'm talking not absolutely shredded where you're on TRT, right? You're doing testosterone. Maybe you're these women who are on Ozempic. You're trying, like, that's not my type of program, right? Because there's different people that want to do that, right? Most people, I bet you'd even know, you go to a gym that's like big, heavy, hardcore head lifters. You go and buy their gym bag. What do you think the gym bag is? You ever notice the gym bag when you go to some of these gyms? I don't want to put people on blast, but the gym bag, the $300 gym bag, you're like, I can buy that for like $50. Yeah, because it's not the gym bag, it's what's inside the gym bag. Steroids, anabolics, all the pills that are going to... They can't show you that. They just say, yeah, buy the gym bag for $500. And then you open it up and it's like, what the hell am I doing? And then you're just like, shooting yourself, right? We ain't doing that stuff. But there's other programs for that, right? And that's just not what we get ourselves into. I know somebody that got cancer from Ozempic, not good. Jesus Christ, right? That's serious. And that's supposed to be, and that, thyroid cancer is one of the side effects, right? Enlarged thyroid. A lot of people think, even for Ozempic, right? It's like, well, Nick, why do I got to exercise and do diet when I could just stab myself right in the leg and I got Ozempic and that's fine, right? Well, we don't realize that there is side effects like this. There is stuff that we just don't know yet, but it's not the worst thing, but it's also not the best thing, right? Because there's things that we can do like yoga and Pilates and the mindset work, right? We could do all of the functional fitness stuff in the world. We could do all of the food, the flexible dieting. We could do the yoga. We could do all these stuff that puts it together. But if we're not mentally in the right place, none of it actually matters, right? Because the mindset work is the glue that holds all of those pillars, right? Lisa, you were on Manjaro. It was horrible. Did you get like the stomach aches? Were you really like, and see, that's the thing. So the mindset, and then we'll get into, let me get on this rant that I was thinking about, is that the mindset is the glue that holds everything together, right? So if we're talking yoga, we're talking Pilates, we're talking functional fitness, we're talking all this stuff. The mindset is what fills in the cracks of all that stuff, right? Because like, if your mindset isn't right, the habits of you sticking to Pilates isn't going to work. The habits of you wanting to track your protein isn't going to work, right? If you go ahead and your mindset isn't right and you want to go to the exercise, well, that one day where you don't feel like doing it, guess what? You're not going because your mindset isn't right. And that's why one of the main things whenever you start working with me is vision, right? If we get on our first call and we can't set up a vision together, I can't help you, right? I got clients who I've denied clients because they're like, well, I just want to lose 15 pounds. Well, that ain't good enough for me, right? Like, that might get us to have a conversation, but I need a vision from you. Why are you losing 15 pounds? Well, I don't know. I just want to lose 15 pounds. Well, cool. Somewhere else, somebody else can help you. I want you to lose 15 pounds so that you can hold it off, so that this program and me as a coach is the last coach that you ever have to purchase, right? And I try to do it. I try to give high value for low cost, right? I'm going to say my program's the lowest cost, anywhere from $250 to $450, we can, depending on the thing. But I know people who are charging in the program, in the mentorship program that I'm in, they charge their clients $700 and they don't even work with these people. They work with shadow coaches through the app that they don't even ask questions. We'll get back to you in 48 hours, right? And it's such a bad look in the industry. But the thing is because a lot of them just want to get to weight loss. And that's the thing. Like, if we wanted to just do weight loss, we could do that. But my program, if you work with me, is a lifestyle, right? It's yoga, it's Pilates, it's let's get out of pain. Let's figure out our mindset. Where's the goals going? It's more life coaching now that I even really think about it, because it's so important, because I know how bad it is. I've had to start over more times than I could ever count. If you ever want to look at my get to know me post that I did last week. But the thing is like, a lot of times if we're not focusing on stepping out of our comfort zone, if we're not focusing on setting realistic goals, setting standards, rather than just trying to go with emotions, what the hell are we doing? Because if we're building a stronger body and we're not building a stronger mind, why are we going down this route, right? Why are we doing this together, right? Because when it all comes down to it, in order for you to sustainably lose weight, get stronger, whatever, you have to be stronger. You have to be mentally resilient. There's going to be days where things don't want to actually work for you, right? But you got to be stronger. You got to show up because you set the standards. You set it earlier on in your program, wherever you're at, so that when things get tough, you can always go into your toolbox and be like, I know I got this. Let me just kind of go through the motions. Maybe I don't do everything, because again, it's all about consistency, not necessarily perfection. Yes, I would love to see my clients hit every nutritional goal that they set out for. Yes, I'd love to see them hit their step count, all this stuff, but it's not possible, right? Because we're not paying, like, even when I work with professional athletes, they're getting paid to eat. They're getting paid. What if somebody's so obese and can't do those exercises? Well, that's the thing. We would go away with, if somebody is very obese, right, is that there's other ways of doing stuff, right? There's not, when we think of like exercise, like in general, in retrospect, like maybe some people might think like doing squats and stuff, but can we hold a wall sit like this, right? If you can hold this, 3 points of contact, low back, mid back, head, hold here. Oh, that's not too bad. But then you sink a little lower. Oh, whoa, what the hell? Sink a little lower. Now your quads are on fire. Now you're like, This is an exercise for your quads, right? If you could stand up like this and even get yourself onto the side and just lift your knees. That's why I'm such a advocate of the resistance bands, right? Because you don't need, right? Saying that you're obese is another way of, I don't want to say an excuse, because what the thing is like, you could sit here, you don't need to be strong, you don't need to be, depending on whatever your body type is, to put a band around your hand and lift your arms up, right? So there's little things that we can do. You just got to find what it is, right? Like if I want to work my shoulders, boom, my steering wheels, this is tough. I think a lot of times when people go and they want to start exercise, they look at all the people who have been doing exercises for a long time and think like, that's what I have to do to get successful. Most people who start exercising start very easy. Most people that start exercise don't even know what the hell they're doing, right? But luckily for me as a coach, that's what I've had to start over. I am an exercise. Let's see. I got my little pieces of paper sitting over there on the wall, my little degrees over there. That's why I went to school, was to learn the body, because whenever I got severely hurt and over at the restaurant and I started doing yoga and I started doing Pilates, I knew it was working for me, but I didn't know why, right? I was like, why is this working? Like, I don't know. You know, like when I first started yoga, I couldn't even touch my knees. Like this was my back. I was like, right? I'm like, oh my God, it felt like it was going to pop out the side. But then I started getting a little bit lower. Then I'm like, why is this working? And then next thing you know, I'm like, oh wait, I can touch my toes. It didn't happen overnight, but as I kept going and going and going, it slowly started going because I was staying consistent, right? And that's the main thing that we have to think of, is the consistency going throughout this. But I was like, I know this is working. How is it working? And then I studied the human body and was like, oh wow, let me go back to college. This is something kind of cool, right? And that's the whole thing, is it doesn't matter if you're just starting out, if you are been sitting on the couch for 30 years. It's never too late to start, right? Because when we go into next month, February Heart Health Month, and I know most of the audience here is women. I bet you don't know the difference between a heart attack and a stroke. I bet you don't know the difference between a male heart attack symptom and a woman heart attack symptom, right? And these are things that we don't ever really think of, but when we think of America and we think of disease and we think of heart disease, heart attack, what is the number one killer in America? Does anybody know? Heart disease, heart attack, stroke. What is the number one disease that is preventable in America? I love these people. You know, you guys are awesome. What's the number one disease that is preventable in America? Heart disease. So it's such a weird thing when we think about in America. And this is what blew my mind when I was in school and studying this stuff, was the number one killer in America is also the number one thing that can be prevented. That doesn't make any sense, right? That tells you there's something wrong with the healthcare system in general, right? Because prevention should be the goal, not diagnosing. That's the difference between the American healthcare system. Preventative medicine, diagnosing. There's no money here in preventing. There's the money in diagnosing. This is the difference between the things that they don't want to tell you when you get into the real themes of the healthcare industry, right? Why would you want to do preventative care whenever it's the same in my country, Trinidad and Tobago? See, it's horrible, right? Is that there's no preventative healthcare like the stuff that I'm teaching. You know, it relies on people to go on the internet, go on live streams and try to teach their audience, hey, grab some resistance bands. Hey, go for a walk. Hey, go focus on the mindset. And it's, you know, it's great that we live in a world now where we can do that. But shouldn't it be coming through from our people who we're paying taxes to and all these other things? You know, I don't want to get political in here, but, you know, what the hell are we doing, right? If we are the number one disease that is killing our civilians and our population is also the number one thing that is prevented, why is our healthcare system not actually going down that route? Why are we not focusing on preventative medicine? Instead, we're too focused on diagnosing everybody's problems and saying, here, try this. Oh, that didn't work. Oh, well, here, of course, I didn't, Why don't you try this pill? Oh, that one gave you a side effect? Oh, well, I'm sorry, D. Try these two pills that are going to counteract that one side effect, but then you need another pill to turn on these. Next thing you know, you're just crushing up pills, right? That's where they want you to be. And this is why it's so important that we get into these live streams. Money, exactly, money. They don't want us to lose their copays. Fuck no, I just paid $25 for a copay for this person just to tell me, hey, Nick, how you doing? Good. Yeah, your blood pressure's good. They put the little thing on your finger. Boom. Hey, see you. Bye. What? I got an Apple Watch and I could have put my pulse right here. I could see. What the hell? Prevention is always better than the cure. That's 100%. And because, and hopefully this will change, right? I'm hoping this will change. You know, we got maybe some new administrations. We always think that things are going to change when people get in there, but we know it's all the same shit, right? It doesn't matter if it's Democrat, Republican, conservative, whatever. It's all the same shit, right? And this is the thing, is that you can't rely on them. Especially right now. Too many people are putting too much hype into these people that don't even know your damn name or number, right? That think that they're going to come and save you, when in reality, the person that's going to save you is the person that's staring at you in the mirror. Prevention's always going to be better than the cure. Well, guess where prevention starts? Deep inside us, right? Deep inside us. And of course, this is why I became a coach, is to help people before they were broken, because I know how much fitness saved my life. Fitness got me out from the streets. I mean, if you see my story, right? It helped me get from the streets, go back to school, and actually focus on something and look forward to and preach the word that is saying health, fitness, exercise, mindset, nutrition, yoga, Pilates, do something, right? Show up to Sunday yoga class, do something. But a lot of times as Americans, we would rather figure things out on ourselves. We'll figure it out on our own, man. We got this. We're strong. I got research. I got a college degree. You know, I got this. Like, I'll figure this out on myself. I'll figure this out on my own. I'm going to go to TikTok. I'm going to go to Instagram. I'm going to get all this information. I'm going to read these books. I'm going to do all this stuff. But then when we do all of that, what ends up happening is we don't realize that we just spent maybe 2 to 3 to 4 years trying to do this. Whenever you could have just hired somebody that knew everything that you've done in the last 4 years and some, and could have just said, hey, Tara, boom, let's do this. Hey, Amy, boom, this is what you need to do. Let's get it going. And it could have saved yourself 4 to 5 years, right? This is something that I didn't think of until whenever I was struggling. Like, let's be real, right? I was struggling hard. I love your passion. Thanks, Sonny. You know, I get passionate. Health and fitness and exercise is passionate for me because this is something that changed my life, right? Like, I was going down the wrong path. Selling drugs, you know, I was selling weed. I thought I was cool, you know, and here I thought everything was, you know, this is it. This is life. I was being a chef. You don't need education for being a chef. You definitely don't need an education for selling, you know, weed to people. But then I realized this ain't me. There's so much more out there to this. Like, is this really what no, there's not. I'm seeing friends dying. I'm seeing people going nowhere, right? And I said, well, let me just start working out, right? Then I got hurt, and then you get hurt, and then you go through all these different things, and then next thing you know, you're back to square one. But if you could just keep going and realize, okay, wait, there's more out here to this. Let me learn a little bit more about this. Then you start getting passionate about it. And then I dedicated my life to exercising, to getting myself healthier, to teaching people. I realized that it got me so further away from those people that were so negative, that are still doing the same things that they're doing right now. Let's be real. That now they see me, they're like, Nick, oh my God, how'd you do this? How'd you do that? Because I got away from hanging out with your dumbass, right? And this is the analogy that I said earlier was burn the boats, right? If you're somebody who wants to get yourself, and you know you have it in you, you know you can exercise, you know you have the fitness, you're able body, even if you're not. I had people, one of my clients has as neuromuscular atrophy. He sits in a chair all day long, can't move his hands, he can only move his head. And he asked me and said, Nick, I need to lose 15 pounds because I need my nurse to help move me. She can't move me anymore. So you know what he did? He lost 15 pounds and he can't even fucking move, right? So I don't want to hear anybody tell me about their excuses that, I can't move, I can't do this. Bullshit, right? Because it's all in our head. If you're able-bodied and you can get yourself up and do something, Let's start slow, right? Because you don't understand how powerful it can be if you just get started and going, right? Like if you could just get started and going, yes, it's all about health, fitness, but you're doing something that you don't want to do that's going to get you to the place that you want to be, which is eventually healthier. Because I know you get a diagnosis at the doctor's office and they say, well, Jade, you do have, heart disease and, this could have been prevented 6 years ago when we had our last visit, but you didn't change anything. You should have started exercising then, all right, well, now you're just beating yourself up when you're like, shit, I coulda, woulda, shoulda. If you're following me on this, and I've lost a lot of followers because I straight up called them out, is like, if you are not, don't wish for it, work for it. Oh, I like that, Jenny. Don't wish for it, work for it. I like that. Because when it comes down to it, health and fitness, yes, we want to look better, feel better. But the whole goal is that if you could do things that you don't essentially want to do, that time whenever life gets hard or whenever you go through some sort of adversity or whenever you go through some sort of thing where you're just like, you feel like all is lost, a lot of times that thought comes into your head, but then it goes right out because you know that you can accomplish hard shit. You've done hard things, right? And it's like, what, that? Oh, what, my car, the flat tire? Oh, that ain't nothing, like, right? You just sweat that off. All right, hey, get it over here. Or some people, flat tire, I got a flat tire, right? But not you, because you're like, what? Flat tire? Oh, get this over with, right? But there's the difference, right? Because we want to be able, if you never have experienced hard stuff, you never know what's going on, you just never know. Yes, because you never know if a stroke or a heart attack. My grandma, I was just here, we'll have some stories real quick. Is that my grandma, we were just with her in Arizona. Maybe you've seen the pictures. You can scroll down. We went to go visit her, my girlfriend and I, in Arizona. Well, we found out last week that she had a stroke. She was cooking dinner. Everything was good and dandy. Hey, how you doing? She had a stroke. Now she's in the hospital. Now she has to go to rehab for the next 4 weeks, right? And so you just never know, right? You just never know. And that's why it's so important to do the things that you want to do. Get yourself started. Don't wait, right? And that's why I have the program that I made for people, is that you don't get yourself, don't wait, right? There's no need to wait. Because we're going to get this stuff, we're going to get you going. We have the Core 5 Blueprint, right? What is the Core 5 Blueprint? It's a 6-month transformation program. Why is it 6 months? Because good stuff takes time, right? I used to give 16-week programs, but I realized that it doesn't even work in 16 weeks. If I'm going to actually work with you and we're going to get this together and we're going to figure some shit out about your health, your fitness, your mindset, your body, it's going to take longer than 16 weeks. I'm sorry, right? Because you can't reverse 30 years worth of negative, bad behaviors in 16 weeks. It just doesn't work. You might get started, but it just doesn't work, right? So that's why I make it 6 to 12 months. And I know lives can change in seconds. Do it now. 100%. It's seconds, right? Hey, how's it going in the office? Then you turn around and you're like, wait, why is the bed empty? It can happen that quick, people, right? And this is why, if you're somebody who's trying to get themselves better for 2025, I'm not trying to scare tactic you, right? But if you're trying to get yourself better in 2025, health, fitness, mindset, yoga, Pilates, get out of pain, I have the blueprint for you. It's the Core 5. We're going to start your first 5 weeks. We're going to figure out what you're eating, how much protein you're doing, what's your step count looking like, are you working out, do we need to do strength training? Like, we're going to break this down into a 5-week approach. And we're going to do this 5 weeks until we figure out that you got it. And then we do the next 5. Your first 5 is going to be different than the next 5. Because when we break these down and we stack these habits, what ends up happening is you don't miss anything. Like, oh shit, I'm not actually even getting any water. Oh my God, my fiber, I don't even know about fiber. Of course you do, because we focused on it, right? And so once you're able to look and stack these habits, now you're just leveling up. I always think of it like Tetris, right? Whenever you're stacking Tetris and it's like, this thing goes here, where does this fit in? And then you fit in here and that's like, and then it erases. And then you're able to start again and build upon that. That's how I envision my Core 5 Blueprint. And that's what has helped hundreds of people get their health and fitness and just start taking back control, right? We talked about preventative healthcare in this live stream, and I can't even believe I'm still talking about this 45 minutes later. Holy shit. So thank you, everybody who's still sticking around, having me go on this rant. But if you're just trying to, like, even if you're not looking for like a full-on reboot or you're just looking for some structure, I'm here, right? This is what it's for. I'm a coach. I'm an exercise physiologist. I work with professional athletes. I've worked with grandmas. I've worked with people broken. I told you I just worked with people who don't even move. So different types of health ailments. This is what I studied for. This is what I want to be able to teach you, right? I work with doctors that they're like, Nick, I don't even remember that shit. Of course you don't, because this is what I am working on. This is the search and the research that I'm involved in. So if you're ever interested, all you got to do is comment Core 5 or message me Core 5 and let's have a conversation. Let's see if I can help you become the person that you are always meant to be, right? And there's no reason to wait, though. You don't want to be like, coulda, woulda, shoulda, or maybe 2 weeks ago, or maybe last month I probably should have signed up. Fuck that. Tomorrow isn't even promised, right? So like if we're trying to get ourselves healthier, what are we waiting for? Now you could go to LA Fitness. I just encourage you to do something, but just know that the best is right here. And it's going to be a lot cheaper and a lot more accessible for, let's be real. I used to work at LA Fitness. And you believe, here's a little rant. LA Fitness would charge, I think it was $800 a month. It was $800 a month for 25-minute training sessions. What the hell were you doing with that? Nothing. You're wasting your money. You know that? And they knew that too, and that's why they preyed off of all those people. And I would go there, and they would pay the trainer $6. It was a mess. But that's the type of places that you'll do. Yeah, not Planet Fitness though. You'll go in the Tootsie Rolls at the front desk, right? These are the things, right? These are Tootsie Rolls at the front desk at a gym. Hey, what we're trying to do is we're giving you energy. Bullshit, right? You just want us to keep coming back. I remember that. Yeah, and that's just part of life. But if you're ever interested, let's talk. I have a few spots open. My goal is to get an intake of people going into February together, so that you all are working on the same thing. So when we have our coaching calls, everybody is kind of like in the same week. And so we would meet up every Saturday. We do group coaching calls, answer your questions, figure things out, and get you to the place that you want to be. So if you're ever interested, holler at me, Core 5. Let's talk, and let's get you to the place you want to be. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. The 5 things that you are going to change your health, your body, and your mindset. Number 1, flexible nutrition. Don't restrict. Don't be restriction. Don't be restricted. I can't have carbs. Well, keto worked for me. Well, keto worked for you because you stopped eating sugar and all the bullshit, right? Like, it wasn't just because you're burning fats. You're not even in ketosis, right? So flexible nutrition. Make sure you're not beating yourself up. Now, you also have functional training. Do the stuff that is the opposite of what you're always doing, right? If you find yourself always sitting down, make sure you're doing extension stuff, right? If you find that you're always hunched over at a desk, maybe you work at a counter, make sure you start building some core strength, right? Do functional stuff. Work the movements rather than the individual muscle. If you're working arm day, leg day, all these other days, you're wasting your damn time. Then you should definitely be reaching out to me. If you still have a leg day and you're over your 30s, what are you signing up for the bodybuilding? No, you're not. Number 3, yoga. Why is yoga so good? Because it's mindset. It's flexibility. It's going to help active recovery. Pilates. Why is Pilates so good? Because when we're doing all the stretching from yoga and all these different things, and oh my gosh, that's one thing, but you also need to strengthen. So Pilates is a really good way to strengthen your core, your hips, your stabilizers, your pelvic floor, all these different areas that I know you're neglecting. And the best thing about Pilates is it's a mind to body connection. So when you're doing Pilates and you're doing one leg, one arm contralateral, you can feel like, oh wow, that's tight comparatively speaking when I do this to this side. So there's an imbalance here, and that allows you to work, gives you something to work on, right? And then finally, is your mindset. All of the stuff that we just talked about does not even work if your mindset isn't in order, right? Because the mindset is the glue that puts all that together, right? If you've been at it for 2 to 3 months and maybe you've only lost 5 pounds, which is still good, but you're like, why are we looking at the number on the scale whenever your clothes feel so much better? You feel like, that's why we work on the mindset, right? Oh, you're not setting realistic goals. Oh, you don't have a vision. Oh, why are you doing this when time gets tough? Well, you need to have a mindset, right? Oh, we're focusing on, oh man, like what the hell? Like, I'm just not going anywhere. I'm just in pain. No, let's start to get out of this way of thinking, right? Because you have control. Don't wait till you're hurt and then start going to PT. I have a couple videos and some content ideas I'm going to start talking about. Is research has shown something called prehab. If you never heard of prehab, so if somebody who's getting ready for surgery, they've shown that the exercise that you do before surgery is going to be more important for your recovery than the exercises you do after. Who would have thought, right? So on that note, that's where I'll leave it. And if anybody needs any help, holler at me. I want to help you become the best version of yourself as long as you're willing to put in the work. So reach out to me, comment Core 5 or DM me Core 5. If you find this in the replay, let me know. And I know we're live on YouTube. I know we're live on Facebook. I don't even know if the audio is going, but whatever. But we're live on all these different places. So I don't know if you'd be able to comment there, or I'll just have to read the comments. But let's do this together because you're not alone in this and you don't need to be. So I'll see you on the next video. Thanks, everybody. All right, YouTube, Facebook. We have the mic on. Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Oh, it's still loading over here. Maybe it is live. Maybe it isn't live. We'll never know. Oh, it looks like it's live over here. End live video on Facebook. Cool. Look at that. We might have done this, people. And we are actually going to be getting ready for our podcast. So if you are on YouTube, we're going to be doing our podcast here in the next. We're going to try to start it on the beginning of February. So beginning of February, it's going to be called this phone's about to die. Fit for a Comeback podcast. So make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you're involved. Make sure you subscribe. I don't even know. It's not out yet. So we'll just wait until it does. But other than that, thanks everybody. I got to get my phone on the charger before it dies. And I'll see you on the next one. Why is this not shutting off? Shut off! I mean, I know I could stay with you guys all day long, but why won't this shut off? It's frozen.